All right, can't beat this, Mark Levine. Blaze News, here goes.
We have a special clip for you. You've seen little pieces of it over the last few days of Wolf Blitzer. They pulled him out of the crypt, and here he is, and Nancy Pelosi, who's a nasty old lady, and I like to call her Eva Pelosi, since she keeps making references to the Third Reich. Well, in that genre, there's always Eva Braun. So, Eva Pelosi, who calls our police stormtroopers. Now, I'm going to play a clip for you. Why? Because I love it. Is it newsworthy? Not really. It's just great. And of course, we all know CNN's in the back pocket of the Republicans and the president, right? Of course not. But Nancy Pelosi is such a lunatic. That's what she'll decide. That's how she'll conclude this. That Wolf Blitzer must be working for the Trump administration. I'm telling you, this has everything. If I could have scripted it, I couldn't have scripted this good. So you've seen little pieces, I know, but it really goes on for like 5 minutes, and we're going to take it all in and enjoy it. Ready? Go.
They really need the money right now, and even members of your own.
I understand
that, but even members of your own caucus, even members of your own caucus, Madam Speaker, want to accept this deal. $1.8 trillion. Congressman Ro Khanna, for example. But let me just quote Ro Khanna, a man you know well. I assume you admire him. He's a Democrat, and he just said this. He said, "People in need can't wait until February. $1.8 trillion is significant and more than twice the Obama stimulus. Make a deal, put the ball in McConnell court." So what do you say to Ro Khanna?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues apologists for the Republican position.
So hold on now. So CNN is an apologist for the Republican position? I'm telling you, she's a crackpot. Go ahead.
That's nice. That isn't what we're going to do, and nobody's waiting till February.
But there are millions of Americans who have lost their jobs. They can't pay the rent. Their kids need the food.
That's right, and that's what we're trying to get done.
$1.8 trillion, and the president just tweeted, stimulus, go big or go home. He wants even more right now, so why not work out a deal with him, and don't let the perfect, as they say here in Washington, be the enemy of the good. Yesterday I spoke to Andrew Yang, who says the same thing. It's not everything you want,
but, you know what?
There's a lot there.
Honest to God, you really, I can't get over it, because Andrew Yang, he's lovely. Ro Khanna, he's lovely. They are not negotiating.
Let's stop. Ooh, is she angry? You're not allowed to question the Queen. Boy, oh boy, better be glad that we don't have guillotines or something, because she'd be lopping heads off left and right. 1.8 trillion is way too much as far as I'm concerned, but it's something the president, the Republicans have offered now. I want you to think about that. These trillions of dollars that we've been spending, it's enormous. All we need to do is help people who are unemployed, help small businesses, help some big ones like the airlines. That doesn't cost $1.8 trillion. There's hundreds of billions of dollars in there, and she wants hundreds of billions or more to help subsidize these cities and states and things that they did financially, including their reckless pensions, long before there was a virus, long before there was a virus. So she is holding out, and she's putting a gun to the head of the American people in this economy, that unless she can bail out Cuomo and Pritzker and Murphy and Newsom and all the other hardcore Democrats and their outrageous pension programs, that she's not going to help the people who need help. That's exactly what's going on here. $1.8 trillion is crazy. You could do that with $1 trillion. And her $2.4 trillion, hundreds of billions of dollars for school districts. No. Not because of the virus. That takes about $5 billion, I read. No, she just wants to give it to them. Now, why does she want to do that? Well, because of the teachers' unions. 3/4 of the money that school district gets go to their employees, the teachers' unions. So she's using this as an opportunity for massive spending to help her constituent groups, to empower the Democrat Party. And I hope not, but in the proposal they made, they say, oh, we already passed a budget to help people. They would destroy our electoral system. They would force California-style voting on every state in the country. Mail-in, early voting, all their practices there, which have very little protections. This is what she's about. So she's a very nasty, contriving, power-hungry individual. Go.
situation. They have no idea of the particulars. They have no idea of what the language is here. I didn't come over here to have, so you're the apologist for the Obama, excuse me, God forbid.
Madam Speaker,
Thank God for
I'm not an
Barack
apologist.
Obama.
She's lost it. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, so she strikes out. She's never been challenged before. Wolf Blitzer finally woke up from a stupor of 40 years, and here he is now actually acting like a reporter. This is a rarity. This is why I'm playing it. What he's doing is a rarity. What she's doing is exposing herself as the crackpot that she actually is, the power-hungry crackpot that Eva Pelosi is. Go.
Serious questions, because so many people are in desperate need right now. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
When was the last time...
Let me respond to you.
Let me ask you, when was the last time, Madam Speaker, when was the last time you spoke with the President about this?
I don't speak to the President. Speak with his representative.
Why not call him and say, Mr. President, let's work out a deal. It's not going to be everything you want, not going to be everything I want, but there are so many Americans right now who are in desperate need. Let's make a deal.
You know, you can tell from just a few minutes here, truly, what a shallow human being she actually is. Truly. I mean, the way she's putting her head down. I'm watching her very, very carefully, as I assume you folks are too. Go ahead.
What makes me amused, if it weren't so sad, is how you all think that you know more about the suffering of the American people than those of us who are elected by them to represent them at that table.
Let me remind you, she and her husband are worth anywhere from 120 to 150 million. They won't release their tax returns, even though she demands that Trump release his, despite the fact she's second in line to be president and is an enormously powerful Speaker of the House. They have several mansions. She has a vineyard, non-union, by the way, for you union folks. Remember that episode, that embarrassing, buffoonish episode where she was standing in front of her $24,000 freezers with her $15 a pack ice cream? Remember all that? Go ahead.
Letter to House Democrats, Madam Speaker, and I ask these questions only, as you know, so many millions of Americans are suffering right now.
Well, you quote two people who know nothing about the agreement. Well, there is no agreement, but what the suggestions are, as if there's some authority on the subject. Please, give equal weight to all of the chairmen on the committee who have written this bill.
But so many of your fellow Democrats in the House, they want a deal right now.
No, that isn't. The
problem solvers, they all want a deal right now.
Yeah.
And here's what they're complaining about, because you wrote a letter to House...
Boy, oh boy, Wolf is relentless. He must have had his Wheaties this morning. I don't know what's going on. This is the kind of wolf we like to see. Unfortunately, he is a wolf in wolf's clothing, as the great Scalia once said about a particular case. Go ahead.
And you said this. Let me read a line from the letter you wrote. The president only wants his name on a check to go out before Election Day and for the market to go up. Is that what this is all about? Not allow the president to take credit if there's a deal that will help millions of Americans right now?
He's not that important. But let me say this. With all due respect, and you know we've known each other a long time, you really don't know what you're talking about. If the plural of anecdote...
Only Eva knows what they're talking about. She trashes the president. She trashes him. She's trashed two people, including one in her caucus, a Democrat. You really don't know what you're talking about, because I'm Eva Pelosi. I know everything. I know what I'm talking about. She still hasn't told us what she's talking about. Go ahead.
Yes, there's some people who said this or that. Overwhelmingly, my caucus wants what is right for the American people. Tomorrow will be 5 months since we passed the bill. At the same time, because there was no resolution, Mitch McConnell said, let's pause. The virus didn't pause, and now we're at a place...
She's rambling on like a buffoon, because she is a buffoon. Mitch McConnell's basically given the store away, $1.8 trillion. They've gone up from, I think it was 1.2 to 1.4 to 1.5 to 1.6, one more shot, $1.8 trillion, and it's not enough. And notice throughout this, she doesn't explain why it's not enough. She doesn't explain what she wants the rest of the money for, because that's more than enough money to get into the hands of people who are suffering the money they need, to get into the hands of small businesses the money they need to survive, to get the hands into the airlines so they don't crash. She won't do it because of the rest of the money she demands. Now, Wolf is okay, but he's not saying, well, what is it that you want to do with the rest of the money? I read that you want to use it for basically political bailouts of blue states. You know the Republicans aren't going to go for that. It's not appropriate given a pandemic. That he won't say. But that's what's going on. And she won't explain what the rest of the money would be for, will she? Go.
We need more money for PPP, for our small businesses. We need more money for our airlines.
All that money is in the $1 trillion and certainly the $1.8 trillion that's on the table, all of it. Go ahead.
More money for our schools. So we have absorbed.
All of that's in the proposal as well. And when she talks about our schools, as I said earlier, she's not talking about the pandemic and what needs to be done in our schools. She's talking about a massive subsidy for schools, basically teachers' unions, many of whom don't want to work, despite the science. The science, remember the science? The schools can be open, but most of them are not, particularly in the blue states. Go.
$500 billion more of expenses still within the 2.2.
I understand all of that, and I have only the greatest respect for you.
So do the math.
Madam Speaker, I have only the greatest respect for you.
$1.6 trillion.
$1.8 trillion. $1.8 trillion is a lot of money. The American people need that money ASAP because they're suffering right now. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying...
And you don't care how it's spent.
I care, of course, how it's spent. But what I don't understand is why not talk to the president personally, call him up and say, Mr. President, let's get a deal tomorrow.
You know why she won't call him? Because she hates him. I've been told by Republican leaders on Capitol Hill she hasn't talked to the president for over a year. He's tried to reach out from time to time through intermediaries. She is so obsessed with his destruction, so obsessed with removing him from office, as she was with the outrageous impeachment and the outrageous abuse of the House Intelligence Committee, the outrageous abuse of our tax dollars being used by the House to go after a political opponent, that she is so obsessed with defeating Trump. She's not going to agree to the funding that's necessary for relief for so many Americans. That's what she's about. Go ahead.
Let me say this. The president has sent Mr. Mnuchin to negotiate. That's what we've done with other presidents. This isn't unusual. The science should call the shot, and when they do, we should all trust it.
And let's hope they get more treatments. Let's hope they get a vaccine. And, Madam Speaker, I certainly respect you, but I also respect Ro Khanna. I respect Andrew Yang. I respect members of the Democrats who are members of the problem solvers. They want a deal because so many people right now
well, the problem solvers, by the way, don't have any earned income tax credit or child tax credit in their proposal either. But let's not go into that.
Yeah, stop. What does the earned income tax credit have to do with getting money into the hands of people who need it right away to pay their bills, put food on the table? Nothing. Nothing. So their agenda's way too big, and she's trying to push it. She's trying to leverage it. And now, when you watch this discussion with Wolf Blitzer, you can see what the president's surrogates are up against. Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, the chief of staff. This is what they're dealing with. They're dealing with somebody who's basically saying, well, let the country collapse. I'll blame it on you. It'll be on your watch, the president. I'll say we can't get anything done during a pandemic. It's on your watch. I'll bring up schools. I'll bring up the people. I'll bring up the usual propaganda. The media, other than this fella, at least for now, Wolf Blitzer, the media will back me. She's not used to this. That's
all right. Shocking. Wolf Blitzer even challenged her at all. Anyway, the fact is in the details. The fact that's way too much spending in the wrong hands, and the fact is she wants it spending to increase. And President Trump has stopped it once. He says not going to do it. He's opened it back up again. She won't do it. She wants to blame Trump for this when she won't negotiate and she won't tell the people what's going on. She is out for blood. Roger Martin, Billings, Montana. Good day.